How would you like to get the rest of August for free? The NFL has 16 preseason games on Thursday. College football season starts this Saturday, and the MLB pennant races are heating up. And you can get all of it for free. Signing up for September with your favorite handicapper at WagerTalk and Sports Memo will get you the rest of this month as a bonus. This is clearly an early bird gets you the worm scenario, as the earlier you sign up, the more free days you will receive. Every play from every sport that your go-to handicapper releases will be yours until September 30th. That's at least 5 full weeks of action and perhaps more, all for only $2.99. Each handicapper has this special loaded on their homepage, so head there now.
Happy Friday, everybody. We all know Friday starts the weekend, and we are here to help make your weekend a profitable one through the props betting market. Joining me, as always, my fellow prop masters. However, we lost Andrew at the meet and greet in Vegas. He's gone. Vegas has him. Who knows? No, I'm just kidding. No, Andrew's off this week. He went from the meet and greet to a West Coast vacation trip. So he'll be back next week. But joining me, the great Matt Josephs from sportsmemo.com. We've got a lot of stuff for you today. We're going to go over some wide receiver season totals. We're going to go over some college football. And then we're going to give out our best bet prop of the week after we cover a little bit of auto racing and a little bit of UFC. Matt, college football season, it's here. No way around it. It's looking us right in the face. And you got to be excited. You were number one on Sports Memo in 2020, up over 30 units last year. You've got a promo code CFB200. It gets $200 off all of the college football season, and it's going to include everything: props. It's going to include all of the wins, the totals, the spreads. So go grab that. That's Matt Josephs at sportsmemo.com. Matt is also on a 47-24 MLB run, so K props are doing good. Matt, it's here. All the work over the summer. So how excited are you for this weekend?
I'm really excited for this weekend because I love this slate. The common college football fan hates it because there's only one Big Ten game and there's a bunch of nobodies playing. But anytime you can get Vanderbilt in Hawaii at 10:30 at night, you can get UConn football, New Mexico State football. Like, I'm all in on this one there, Andy. I think it's going to be a great weekend. And I've got one play up right now. A couple more are coming. I'm going to start very slow. I mean, we'll get into it more as the show goes along. But week 0 doesn't mean go nuts and play every game. It means dip your toe in the water a little bit before the madness officially starts next week.
I can't tell you how much it bothers me that this is called week 0. That must be the OCD in me. That is just infuriating to me. Then we do it again in March Madness, where we have tournament games that aren't tournament games. But we can get to that. We can get to that in the spring. So, all right, guys, we are going to start off with some NFL. We're right around the corner with NFL as well. We've been covering some season totals and some futures. This week, Matt and I are going to go over some wide receiver totals for the season. I picked 2. Matt picked 2. We're geniuses. We decided before the show to make sure we didn't pick the same ones. So maybe we should have done that last night. But Matt, I'm going to go to you first. So give us your first receiver. You broke it down. And what did you decide to do with him on his season total?
All right, it's Justin Jefferson. I mean, and I can do all this convoluted research and analysis and statistical work and things like that. Guy's really good. He might be the best receiver in football. Like, I mean, you can make a case he's definitely top 5. He might be the best in terms of tools and everything. You guys know I love Kirk Cousins' stats. I don't love Kirk Cousins, the quarterback. And if I think he's going to go over his touchdowns, I think a lot of those are going to go to Justin Jefferson. So, and there's a lot of numbers within reach for Jefferson with regards to his career and Randy Moss in terms of Vikings records and things like that. So I just over everything on Justin Jefferson. His receptions, his yard. I mean, I think the yards and the touchdowns are probably the ones I like the most. But I think Justin Jefferson's going to have another monster season this year. And look, if Kirk Cousins is going to throw over 30 touchdowns, at least 10 or 12 of them are going to go to Justin Jefferson. So I'm all in on the guy. I think he's great. He should be an Eagle, but we were a bunch of idiots when it came to the draft. Give me Justin Jefferson to go nuts again this season. What do you think?
I cannot find any reason to take an under on that. I mean, obviously, an injury is what kills the over, but it's he's a wide receiver. He's not a guy that takes a lot of big hits. He's big. He's physical. And here's one thing I love about him and Jamar Chase. They have chemistry with their quarterbacks, where their quarterbacks trust them to just throw it up for grabs. I think sometimes quarterbacks get a little bit too cute and maybe throw it away. And Cousins has done a good job with Jefferson. Burrow's done a good job with Jamar Chase, where if it's single coverage or sometimes even double coverage, they're just going to throw it long and let their guys make a play. And Jefferson has done a really, really good job of that. I like their offense this year that they're at least starting off healthy, so that it's going to be pretty hard to double team him and take him out of the way. Cousins, the guy does put up numbers. His track record on primetime games and playoffs is well documented, but that doesn't matter here. We're just looking for numbers. So I can't disagree with you at all, Matt. I find no reason to take a Justin Jefferson under. I'm getting ready for some fantasy football drafts, and the guy's going like fourth, in league. So I mean, he's just, he's a monster. Sometimes don't get too cute and overthink it. So I'm going to start off with Brandin Cooks. This is one of my favorite sleepers. I believe I talked about him a couple weeks ago on WagerTalk today, but I got to do it again. I love his over 950.5 yards receiving. He's gone over this total in both years with the Texans, and he's gone over this total 6 out of 7 years. The year he didn't go over was his rookie year. He gets to face the Colts and the Jags twice. Those secondaries are ranked 18th or worse, according to Pro Football Focus. Even the Titans are outside the top 10. So he's got good matchups in his division. And I feel like he's really thought of as an injury risk. I've gone into the last couple seasons thinking, well, Brandin Cooks, he's often injured. He's not, though. Listen to his games played since 2015, Matt. 16, 16, 16, 16, 14, 15, 16. Believe this guy is actually about as durable as it gets. If you draft a wide receiver and you get that kind of production and those kind of games out of him, you would be ecstatic. Yet for some reason, he flies under the radar. He's a great fantasy football pick. I kind of like what I saw from Davis Mills. I know he's not been having a great preseason. I'm not too worried about preseason. I think if Brandin Cooks stays healthy, he flies over this. I would expect another 1,000-yard season from Brandin Cooks, another 6 to 7 touchdowns possibly. He's by far the number one target on that team. So Brandin Cooks, not a big, sexy name, but they put this total below 1,000. I got to take the over on it. What do you think, Matt, about Brandin Cooks?
I agree. I mean, it's a classic case of who else are you going to throw to? Nico Collins. I don't even know who their tight end is. I mean, they're starting a rookie at running back and Dameon Pierce. Yeah, I think the only thing that's going to be an issue is if for some reason they change quarterbacks. But I think that the Houston Texans have to play Davis Mills to know if he's the guy. So if he plays a lot and Brandin Cooks is his number one receiver, I think that – and the tough thing is kind of deciding between the yards and the touchdowns. I mean, how many touchdowns are they going to get this year? But if Davis Mills is throwing touchdowns, they're most likely going to go to Cooks. So, yeah, I think Cooks is another guy who's going to have a very good year because he's the only guy in that offense.
It's pretty interesting. I'm excited to talk about these next two guys. Who's your next? Well, he is a wide receiver. Make no mistake about it. He's a wide receiver. Go ahead and talk about your next guy.
And much like Brandin Cooks, the same reasoning comes here. Kyle Pitts. I think once again, this is a guy in an offense that you're going to say, all right, who you throwing to? Olamide Zaccheaus, some of the other guys that are there. They do have the rookie in Atlanta, but man, I just think Atlanta has nothing else other than Kyle Pitts, and he's the type of guy who can move all around, as you say. Like, he'll line up in the slot. He may line up out wide. He may line up as the tight end. But I think 4.5 touchdowns is a little light. I understand that the quarterback situation is not great. Mariota's not great. Desmond Ridder, if he plays, is not great. But once again, Atlanta's going to score touchdowns this year, and I know you're going to try as hard as you can to double Kyle Pitts, but man, 4.5 touchdowns is really light for a guy like that. He is the number one option. He's the number 2 option. He's the number 3 option. So to me, I'm looking at the over for Kyle Pitts' touchdowns here. He dealt with some adversity last year, but now he's going to be thrust into everything in that second year. And I think Kyle Pitts is going to soak up all the targets and all the touchdowns he can get.
Boy, 4.5 stunningly low. It really does. I mean, like you said, that's the number one target. He's a big body. I mean, he's a great red zone threat. Hopefully, he has the chemistry with the quarterback there in Atlanta. I got to agree with that. I was shocked to see 4.5 on the touchdowns. I'm going to go with a big name, and I'm going under. I don't think Travis Kelce gets it done this year. I'm taking his under 1,100.5 yards receiving. Last year, Matt, he had 92 catches, 1,125 yards receiving. Those are his lowest totals for catches and for yards since 2017. In doing the research, we all watched the Chiefs. I thought they just became way too dependent on Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Tyreek Hill, obviously a big name, and he's gone. I just wonder if now they just get to open up the offense a lot, and you get Mahomes with tons of options. Their offensive line a couple years ago was one of the worst. Now it's one of the best. You could argue that it is the best. So I think you're going to see Patrick Mahomes with a lot of time to throw, and he's going to have a lot of weapons. I like the addition of Juju Smith-Schuster. I think he's being overlooked. They got Valdez-Scantling, who can stretch the field. Mecole Hardman sometimes can drive you nuts, but he is good once he gets out in open space. They got Sky Moore. They've got running backs that can do damage. And I just think there's going to be too many mouths to feed. And I think this is a year that you can take an under on Kelce. I think he's going to be overvalued, especially in fantasy drafts. I just like the Chiefs' mentality of saying we can get away from Tyreek Hill because we trust Mahomes. And if you're the Chiefs, you got a lot of wear and tear on Travis Kelce. And why not save him a little bit for the playoffs? I think you're going to see his target share go down. I think you're going to see them resting him in some games. If they get up big, years past, they would let him play the entire game. I think they're going to take him out. And why would you want to put more wear and tear on Kelce? I mean, the Chiefs are in Super Bowl or bust mode. So you would want a healthy Travis Kelce for the playoffs. I think one injury to Kelce, he misses a couple games, this goes under. I think you're going to see a lot more ball distribution coming out from the Chiefs offense. I think this number is a little bit too high. It wouldn't surprise me if Kelce comes in under 1,000 yards, especially if they decide to sit him if he gets a little banged up. So Matt, Travis Kelce in the under. Never thought I'd be using those words. What do you think?
It's a tough sell to me. It's much like anybody who says I want to take unders on Aaron Rodgers. It's like you're betting against, somebody who is really good at their job. And you make all very good points, but I can also counter with the fact that they do have a lot of other weapons, but they're not very good. Like Juju's not very good. And if they start getting into these situations where the defense lets them down, they have to move down the field. You're going to look for chunk plays with Travis Kelce. You're not going to look for that. Juju Smith-Schuster was never one of those guys. Sky Moore's interesting, but he's a rookie. And rookies are either really good or they're really bad that first season. And, some of the other weapons, Mecole Hardman is a guy that you can go deep to, but their chemistry was on and off. So I see your point, and it's something that definitely makes sense. But I just don't think I could take an under on Travis Kelce when he is the number one guy, because you could also argue that Mahomes looked at Tyreek Hill a lot more, and some of that yardage and some of those receptions are going to go now to Travis Kelce. And if they get into these games, because that division, I don't know how many games are going to have blowouts, Andy. Look at that division. I mean, every game in that division is going to be tough. The Chiefs have a first-place schedule. They have a really tough schedule. So I see your logic. I'm not going to play against you, but I'm just saying, Travis Kelce's the guy there, and Mahomes has the most faith in him. So I don't know if I can play an under with a guy like that. I think your injury is potentially your biggest case. If he gets hurt and, doing so much, then the under comes into play.
All right, little disagreement on Travis Kelce. I'm always worried when I'm on the other side of Matt Joseph. So there you go, guys. A little bit of Travis Kelce, Brandin Cooks, Kyle Pitts, and Justin Jefferson. And we're right around the corner from having picks every week on some of these guys. So looking forward to it. We're going to go talk a little college football. Matt, we mentioned you've got a promo code up. You were up 30 units in college football last year. Great job on that. You can use the promo code CFB200, gets $200 off college football. So where are you at with the season starting? I'm sure you've kind of made a lot of your opinions already. So what are you looking forward to this season, and what do you have your eye on for some picks and props coming up?
So I think the way to kind of, and this is, we've talked about this a lot, and it's something I've used now pretty much in all sports, is kind of, taking one half of the equation out, because I feel like there's so many variables when you look at any sport. You've got two teams competing. In baseball, you got all these pitchers, bullpens start, and then you got offense and defense in football. So like, at least early on in these week 0 and week 1 games, I'm going to be looking at team totals, and I'm going to be looking at isolating certain things, and I'm going to be looking at isolating certain quarters, certain halves. I'll give you 2 examples already. First off, you've got Utah State. They're playing UConn on Saturday. Utah State is going to probably obliterate UConn. The thing I'm concerned about, especially in the third and fourth quarters, A, it's really hot in Logan, Utah, and B, Utah State's traveling to Alabama next week. Now, Utah State's going to get blasted by Alabama in week 1, but, I mean, they're going to at least want to keep their guys healthy for that game. And there's reports already that Logan Bonner's not 100%. How much he's going to play in this game is a bit of a mystery if he plays at all. So I'm not looking to play Utah State full game. There may even be a little bit of value on UConn for this full game, because Utah State might rest their guys in the second half, especially if they have a big lead. The other thing, and this is kind of a reverse situation, usually when we talk about the FBS, FCS games, it's the FBS team that kind of looks ahead to the next week. Well, when you look at this FCS game between Florida A&M and North Carolina, you have a Florida A&M team that's playing at North Carolina, and in week 1 next week, they're playing Jackson State in Miami. Jackson State's Deion Sanders' team, and so they get a lot of publicity. This game last year was either 9-8 or 9-6. It was really close. The Rattlers lost in heartbreaking fashion. You know they're going to want to pay back Jackson State. So I don't know how much of an effort we get from Florida A&M in this week 0 game against North Carolina. Now, a lot of books don't give you like first half spreads, stuff like that. But I think there's a chance North Carolina puts it on Florida A&M, who kind of goes through the motions as they get set for a bigger game coming up in week 1 against Deion Sanders' bunch in Jackson State.
You mentioned UConn and Utah State. To your point, I think the books are right in line with you. Utah State is minus 26.5 for the game, but minus 16.5 for the first half. So yeah, you might really be onto something. Are there any props we should be looking forward to this season? Any players in particular that you think we can isolate? I know you used Army and Navy for the first quarter unders just beautifully last year. So do you have any kind of trends in mind that you want to try and get out in front of?
I mean, I think we're going to kind of see, with regards to new coaches, new systems, and things like that, early on playing first quarter unders. I'll be fascinated to see. I'm debating the first quarter under for this Nebraska Northwestern game in Dublin, Ireland. I mean, it's a brand new setting for these guys. They did walkthroughs through the stadium, but I don't think either of them are going to actually practice there before the game itself coming up tomorrow. The body clock won't be a problem. It'll be about the time of a normal football game here, so I don't think that'll be much of an issue. But I'll be interested to see slow starts. I actually looked at week 0. There was only like 5 or 6 games last year in this quote unquote first week. A couple of them started really slow when you've got new systems and teams that don't know what to expect from the other squad. I think that's kind of interesting. The one game last year that saw a lot of points in the first quarter in week 0 was UCLA and Hawaii, but that's because Hawaii was bad and they were in the mainland and there were some fluke turnovers and UCLA scored a bunch. But other than that, there were some slow starting first quarters. So it's something I'm potentially going to look at, maybe even for like Illinois and Wyoming, 2 teams that kind of want to run the ball quite a bit. So I'm thinking that there's going to be less points potentially in some of these week 0 games than if they were played in week 7 or week 8. So it's something to kind of watch, slow starts and new systems, to see how these teams kind of attack each other when they don't really know much. There's no joint practices. There's no filming of practices or anything like that. So there's not a lot of information for these folks to go off of.
Well, I got to tell you, Matt, one of my most successful NFL betting strategies was the first quarter unders. I've been working hard over the summer to try and figure some of these teams. I can't wait to talk more first quarter unders. You and I thought, really discovered something there. That was a lot of fun. It was very profitable. And the nice thing about first quarter overs is your bet's over really quick. If you don't have to watch a 4-hour, 3-hour game to know if you won 15, 20 minutes in and out, and you're good to go. So I'm going to talk a little bit of UFC and racing before we get to the prop of the week. Running a special right now, guys. You can get the rest of 2022 props for only $399. This is a smoking deal. I'm up 83 units this year in props. This is going to include all sports. So you're going to get NFL, NBA, NHL, all my golf, all my NASCAR, all my UFC and MMA props. We're having a fantastic year, up 83 units. You don't need any promo code or anything like that. Just go to my profile page and grab all props. Okay, so one thing, Matt, that I really had my heart set on coming into the summer was I wanted to profit off of the Dana White Contender Series, the UFC events on Tuesday. Official picks on Wager Talk have gone 4-1, so I'm very happy with that. Prop wise, Dana White made it very clear he wants to see finishes. So the under on these fights are hitting all the time, especially in heavyweights and once you get up to the divisions, the heavier division. So there's a couple fights on Tuesday that I think you can just blindly play the unders and you're going to be good. The Jose Henrique and the Kinoshita fight is going to go under. My guess is the Mataj Penaz and Cedric Dumas. Those are two kickboxers. That one's going to go under. And then I actually think you see a finish in the women's fight, Maria Silva and Victoria Dudakova. You're just seeing a lot of finishes. Week one of the Contender Series, there were like hardly any finishes, and Dana was livid. So anybody that's been fighting on Tuesday knows you got to go for the finish. So take the unders on these 2.5 rounds. And when you get to the heavyweights, take the under on 1.5 rounds. Real quick on racing. Don't play Daytona this week. It's a restrictor plate race. They are racing Formula One here in Belgium. Weather is always an issue here, and sure enough, it rained in practice one. A prop I think you can play is Lewis Hamilton on the podium. I gave that out when we recorded Life in the Fast Lane. He's been on the podium 6 races in a row, and quite frankly, the Red Bull cars and the Ferrari cars just kind of seem to make all kinds of mistakes, and now we get word that Verstappen and Leclerc are going to have to start from the back because they're changing power units on their cars, so you get a jump start already on Lewis Hamilton is going to qualify well. So if you get a chance in between qualifying and practice, take a look at Lewis Hamilton to finish on the podium. That's first, second, or third. So those are some things I'm looking at in the UFC and auto racing markets. All right, I am in charge of the Prop It Up Bet of the week. And Matt, I'm using one of your strategies. It worked yesterday. I played James Caprillion under his outs because of you have this great and how many bullpen arms do teams have at their disposal. And it worked yesterday. So I'm going to use it again today. And we're going to take Garrett Cole under 20.5 outs as our prop of the week. So Cole has gone under this total in 5 out of 6 games. And Matt, in those games, he went under. He pitched exactly 6 innings to get 18 outs. So it seems like they go into games saying we're going to get 6 innings out of Cole, and then we're going to take him out. The bullpen factor, the Yankees blasted the Athletics yesterday. Tyon pitched strong. They only used 2 bullpen arms yesterday, so they have plenty of bullpen guys to come in for him. I don't know why they would want Garrett Cole to go super deep into a game, especially if they have a lead. So we've got a really nice trend going with Garrett Cole under. They have plenty of bullpen arms to bring in for Cole. So I'm going to take Garrett Cole under 20.5 outs. Don't be surprised if they take him out after 6 strong innings pitched. All right, that's our prop of the week, and that is going to do it for us this week. I'm Andy Lang. I'm from WagerTalk.com. You can get all of my props for the rest of 2022 for just $3.99 on WagerTalk.com. Once again, no promo code is needed. Just go over there on the profile page, click on the button. It is right there. And Matt Joseph is on a really nice 47-24 MLB run. You can find all of his plays at sportsmemo.com. Use the promo code CFB200. It gets $200 off his entire college football season. Matt was up over 30 units last year, which is really incredible and awesome to do in college football. Not too many people do it better than Matt Joseph, so go check him out on sportsmemo.com. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. College football season is here. NFL is right around the corner, so it's going to be a busy, and fun run here on Prop It Up. So good luck. Let's have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week on another edition of Prop It Up.
How would you like to get the rest of August for free? The NFL has 16 preseason games on Thursday. College football season starts this Saturday, and the MLB pennant races are heating up. And you can get all of it for free. Signing up for September with your favorite handicapper at WagerTalk and Sports Memo will get you the rest of this month as a bonus. This is clearly an early bird gets you the worm scenario, as the earlier you sign up, the more free days you'll receive. Every play from every sport that your go-to handicapper releases will be yours until September 30th. That's at least 5 full weeks of action and perhaps more, all for only $2.99. Each handicapper has this special loaded on their homepage, so head there now.